Welcome to the Green Wasp Removal YouTube channel. In this episode, we continue training and mentoring the Manchester University Wasp Survey Team on June 30th, 2025, as we remove multiple paper wasp nests from a local residence who had called us for assistance. The team located and removed several invasive Polistes Dominula nests, that's the European paper wasp, for use in Venom Immunotherapy. They also removed several Metric Paper Wasp nests, which are Polistes metricus. These were collected for relocation. This client property had multiple structures, almost all of which had wasp activity, including their house, barn, pool, deck, trampoline, and playhouse. The team did an excellent job inspecting the property and locating the nests and collecting many Polistes Dominula wasps for Venom Immunotherapy, or VIT. Polistes Dominula are a Eurasian species that are in high demand around the world for venom immunotherapy. And due to their global expansion as an invasive species, a lot of people around the world are currently exposed to their venom. And this seems to be increasing every year. So it's always a good thing when we can capture this species for biomedical use like VIT. In this episode, we'll show you all the field work involved in collecting these wasps, and also the venom preservation process that we use, which involves flash freezing the live wasp specimens in dry ice, or frozen CO2. We'll show you the nest incubation process. We use CO2 gas to tranquilize them temporarily while we transfer them into a glass habitat. This way it's simple to separate the adults from the brood comb, that's the eggs, larvae, and pupae, into captivity, and we raise the brood until they can hatch out as adult wasps for later VIT collection. We'll also show you some very interesting research we're doing involving disease transfer from honeybees into wasp populations, such as deformed wing virus, which you see here. This wasp is suffering from a virus that causes its wings and other parts of its body to malform while it's developing from pupae into adult wasp. We'll show you how we collect these specimens with deformed wing virus, and we preserve them in ethanol and prepare to ship them to the labs that will confirm these diagnoses for us. This is a lethal condition that will kill the wasp in the wild and many other pollinators that have become infected by these diseases brought here by honeybees. Another research project we'll show you in this episode involves experimentation with alternative ways of feeding Polistes Dominula paper wasp larvae by hand in captivity using pollen cake, which is the tan substance you see here. It's a plant-based protein supplement normally fed to managed honeybee colonies during times of the year when pollen and nectar availability is low. Honeybees usually eat only pollen for protein and nectar for carbohydrates. Wasps, on the other hand, are carnivores that eat meat, as well as some pollen and nectar, but they normally hunt pest insects for protein, and they feed that fresh meat to their larvae. In our wasp brood feeding experiments, we feed the captive wasp larvae with pollen cake exclusively for their protein. They receive no insect meat at all, and so far the Polistes Dominula larvae that you see here has done very well on this alternative plant-based pollen cake protein, which may one day lead to new ways of breeding and raising captive Polistes Dominula for venom immunotherapy. If our research finds that live insects are not necessary to raise healthy wasp larvae, then the need for feeder insects could be eliminated in captive colonies that are bred for VIT, which would make incubation of wasp brood easier, cleaner, potentially less expensive, and much more efficient. We share all the research we do inside our barn lab in the hopes that someone somewhere globally who is involved with entomology and wasp work and Vespiary research in general for the purpose of venom immunotherapy can also learn, as we learn, some new techniques, some alternative ways of raising wasps in a lab environment in captivity so that we can increase the number of Polistes Dominula products available for people who have lethal venom allergies around the world. We believe as more research is shared around the world amongst people who are involved with this sort of work, breakthroughs will happen. We will find ways to make raising Polistes Dominula more efficient, more feasible, so that we are not necessarily bound by the laws found in nature. We simply use what we've observed in nature as a guide to lead us toward alternative options that work for the general human need for venom immunotherapy products. If any viewers out there have also experimented with plant-based proteins and pollens as food for developing wasp larvae, please do get in touch. We'd love to compare notes with people who have sharp minds and innovative ideas to push this whole concept forward. For now, let's take you back to June 30th, 2025 with the Manchester University Wasp Team, and we'll go over the entire job with you from the beginning collection in the field all the way through the lab tests we're doing in our barn lab. We appreciate your interest. If you do find this content enjoyable, educational, entertaining, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment to let us know you're there. Enjoy the show. All right, it's June 30th, 2025, and we're at a private residence today to work on multiple nest removals for paper wasps. This family has an allergy, and so the team is suiting up and going through safety protocols to get ready for this removal. Today we have the whole team, Colleen and Coco and Sam and Katie and Elise, and we have Milo over there, and we have a new team member, Micah. Welcome, Micah. Thanks for your bravery in joining us. We appreciate you. So our team lead today is Coco, is one of the OGs from last year. So she's going to take Micah through the safety protocols on suiting up, and she's going to tell her and show her how to check suit seams and zippers and veils and check each other for safety.
Because you're going to put those bands under. Yeah, the bands go under the sole of your boot. So the bands go under. So yeah, put your boots on, and you're going to put the pant leg over your boot. Okay.
Those are good boots for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a perfect setup.
Jaden had a pair of long boots.
Yeah, those are really handy, especially out in this type of environment. We have a lot of need for wasp removals in this sort of country landscape, and the ground can be saturated like today after a rain, so it's always nice to have muck boots, and the muck boots are actually very good for safety. We have a lot of issue with yellow jackets in the ground around here. Ground nests in particular are great at stinging your ankles, so this type of tall boot is always a great choice.
Little strap underneath your boot. Okay.
One note here about the foot strap on a bee suit. The reason we put our foot straps underneath the shoe instead of inside the shoe around our foot is because we found just in general it is easier for us to avoid stings and to tape our ankles when we do ground nests and so forth if the boot is secured to the suit and we wrap around the seam with tape. Because everybody's got different types of shoes, the strap around the shoe to hold the whole thing together with the bee suit just seems to work better, and there's fewer wasps that go down into your shoe because they have an access point around the top of the shoe. We realize this technique is a little different than a lot of beekeepers or people that work with wasps might use, where they just wrap it around their foot and then put their foot in the boot. But give it a try sometime if you're having trouble with a lot of ankle and leg stings.
Half the time when you're doing a paper wasp job, it's like they're so quick to remove once you have the suits on that it almost takes longer to put the suit on than actually get the wasp nest.
That is true sometimes. That's kind of we like though, you know, in and out, make it simple. Micah, you look kind of natural in that suit, I must say. I think you were born to do this work. All right, are we ready to give Micah her walkthrough?
Here, Michael, hold this tab up.
Oh yeah, what you just bought a bunch
Oh, this? Okay.
No, I like put this more firm. The hat ring is nice because like sometimes they can see they can just go like this, but
Yeah, the visor actually is great because the visor keeps the veil off of your skin, and that way you can move your head left, right, forward. Check that out. Give yourself full range of motion. Make sure you're not bumping into any part of that net with your face. Feel okay? Good. Your visor's doing a good job. You're set, so take her through a check for holes in her veils, her zippers, her seams. That's what we're looking for next.
okay. So yeah, usually you want to pay attention more to the seams because that's where it's easier to rip. And kind of just look all around, make sure there's no holes. And like lift your arms, so like look on the sides. Okay, for the pants, and then go like this.
That's their work.
Very good. And this side. Hey.
All right, so Micah, once your partner checks you, you're going to check her. Check her veil from top to bottom, looking for small holes that is a wasp-sized hole that a wasp could get through. And you're going to check all of her zippers, make sure they're all connected and not broken or separated. Check all of her seams as she looks around. She can't see her back or her under her arms, that kind of thing. So you're going to help her with all that. Okay? And look really carefully, because it's really easy to miss a hole that nobody saw, that got caught on a nail or got snagged on something sharp. It happens a lot in the field. So be really thorough. You know, do these very carefully. Like, tell yourself in your head, I'm going to find a hole. I know it's here. It's somewhere, right? And look around, and you'd be surprised how many times you might find one. And it's especially important with yellow jacket nests, because they are just really good at getting into your suit.
The yellow jacket nests are also really fun though.
They are.
Because they're usually in the ground. So we get to like stomp on them and make them come out. Yeah.
We don't actually stomp on the wasp, just so you know. We stomp around the nest, and that makes the wasp come up out of the ground. All right, now, did you guys check out Sam? Make sure he's good to go.
I still need to.
All right, we good? Team lead, or are you signing off on our safety checks?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Now we're going to grab gear. Somebody pick up our gear box, and we're going to get a little tour as to where we're working today. All right, you set, Milo? Cool, let's do it. Simple. We just have containers that we can see through that we're going to capture entire nests with. And we use these scrape tools to scrape the nest down from their eaves or wherever they're located, and tongs, whatever we need. Just a super simple collection of gear today. With where are you seeing them?
One right there, and one over here.
Okay, gotcha.
This one looks less active.
Yeah, I haven't seen any adults on these today, but he did say that they're normally pretty active and there's clearly no.
Okay, did he mention that he sprayed anything yet?
No, he didn't say anything about spraying.
Okay. Well, let's see what we get. They may be hiding up underneath the backs of these. Otherwise, maybe they're abandoned.
Yeah, so we might literally just have to undo that.
All right, point those out again. Where are they?
So we've got one on each side. There's one up in here,
Okay.
one inside that nozzle, and then one on this side.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. These slides attract them. Everywhere I go in playgrounds and stuff, they absolutely, they do attract them. So up in here, they're probably hiding up above the nest right now.
Well, I can actually see them in there.
Yeah, they have that like reflection.
Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Okay, so that's up inside.
I wonder if you can get to that one better from the top.
Yeah, let's see what's going on up in top. Okay, and let's take a look at the other. Where was that? Right here.
This is a little tiny.
Little starter nest there. Okay. One piece of plastic up. If it goes up, we should be able to get to them.
We should.
Yeah, I don't know if that needs to like, if that just pops off or if we need to remove that.
All right, we'll see. Do you see any screw attachments there?
There's no screw attachments from what I see, so I think it just pops off.
All right, we'll be ready for that, but let's kind of glove up and whatnot and be ready for them. Over here. Hey, that's great. Dominula, this is a very important species for venom immunotherapy. And so we're very careful with Dominula because we collect them for that purpose. And we'll definitely get that nest and relocate it so it can continue to thrive wherever we put it. Nest up inside these lights, but we don't have a ladder here. Maybe the client does, and we can go ahead and remove those if the client can get us up there. Okay. And does that seem like about it for today as far as locations? Mm-hmm. All right, let's have at it. Let's start with the slide. Here's a Dominula nest on the ladder. So we'll have to take that too. Dominula, a very important species for venom immunotherapy. And Micah, most of these wasps that we collect of this type go straight to a lab, and that lab produces venom immunotherapy products that give people allergy shots if they're allergic to venom. So these are very good for venom immunotherapy. So we collect as many of these and we raise them and incubate their nests as much as we can. So that's what this nest is. And what we're gonna do is try to knock it straight down into one of these containers. So when you guys are ready, go ahead.
All right. James, we have 4 more nests.
That's
along the edge
perfect.
of the pool.
Yeah, perfect. That's what we're looking for. Work as fast as you can. Close it up. All right, so let's let them reset. They're gonna run around and reset back to where they're used to going. How'd you do?
There's
Got
2
about
in
half
there.
the ones that were on there.
That's perfect. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we'll use the vac to pick up the rest later. They're gonna recongregate right here. You see how they go back to where the nest was? So what we're gonna do is let them do that and we'll come back with the vac to get them later. And in the meantime, great. We got a good collection there already. So we still have a few Dominula hanging out here that we'll vacuum up later. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull down 2 more paper wasp nests that are up here in the stairwell. So Micah about to do her first nest. Here she goes. So you first put the container all the way around the nest. Great. Once it's solid, then you put the flat part of your tool up there and just scrape it. Make sure it drops into it before you move it, and then you cap real quick. Great job. Done and done. There she goes. Slide it back, and there might be wasps back there, so be ready for that. And get your cap ready to slide right onto it, right? There you go. Perfect. Well done. Now we have 2 down. Great. How'd you feel? No problem?
Good.
All right, good deal. Anybody tell if this is Dominula or native in there?
Native.
Okay. This panel and see anything in there. Watch your face, Milo, because they're going to be coming after us. Grab it from, the nest appears to be in the center, so don't crush it. So grab it from the side and the other side also. Pull over on this side, see if you can reach it. There you go. Kind of lift it. That might pop up, it might not. If not, don't worry. It looks like it's going to be a pain to move. So let's get the small tool, guys, and put it right into the center where you can get the nest from here. We'll need somebody with a tool. Okay, great. Coco's not going to be able to see that. So Milo, or maybe Micah is tall enough to reach that. Can you sneak around there? Don't worry about them. They won't get you through your suit. Just make sure you don't push your nose against the suit. So go ahead and lift it up a little bit for her, and then let Micah scrape it out with the blue tool. So hand her the blue tool.
You see it?
It's just hard to.
It might be hard to get to, but do your best to just scrape it out.
Oh, you got a wasp in there.
That's handy.
Oh God.
There you go. Just kind of be careful not to crush it. Just get it from the top and kind of gently pop it down. And as they come toward your face, don't worry, you're protected. Got it? Excellent.
Thank you.
Caught it. Here we go. There is some larvae in there. It's a good live nest. Now we'll just let them reset there and we'll vacuum them up later, the rest of the population. So now we're going to go for these, the ones that are underneath some of these holes in the slide. You may not be able to reach with that tool, but do your best. Yeah, if you can avoid crushing it, that's great, because then we can relocate it.
Can I just...
There you go, you got it. You can use your fingers if you need to pull anything else out. Okay, great. You might have a spider nest there underneath it, so you don't have to put the rest of the spider stuff in there. All right, let's do the next one on the other side. It's in a similar spot on the other side. This is a little starter nest. And this will keep them from growing one there. All right, let's see what you got. Great. All right, we're good. So On to the next one.
Would it be helpful to have a smaller jar? Is that part of it?
Yeah, you can use a smaller jar. That's
The
fine.
ledge is less
Yeah, why not?
narrow.
Here you go. Trade you. Thanks. Excellent. You got them all. Nice job. That's an excellent job. And the Dominula is the ones we really need for VIT. Let me just say that was like a boss. That was good. Excellent. That looks great. All right, so Sam's going to go for this Dominula nest next.
Get it under there.
All right, pop it down. Let it drop in.
It's not wanting to
That's
fall.
okay. No worries. Keep as many as you can there. Just keep it contained because they're dropping in by themselves. There you go. Now, before you come out, get that cap ready. Perfect. That's it. Nice job. Now, let's see what you got.
Got at least half of them.
Yeah, perfect. All right, we'll vacuum up the rest later. Let's keep doing that right around the pool, guys. Good
I
job.
think only 2 got out.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
great. Here we go.
Oh, it went right in the jar.
Nice, that's what you're doing. Now you can just pull the nest. That's great. Pull that down, drop it right in with the wasp if you can.
You want me to give
Flip
you
it
two?
upside down and the wasp will go up, and when she does, pop that nest in there. There you go. Great job.
Woo.
You need a scrape tool, or can you just drag it across?
Oh, that just dropped.
No problem.
There's an inactive nest.
Were you able to get that one?
Yep.
Okay, great. Let's take a look at that, see if there's any pupae left. There is, so we can save them and let them pupate out. All right, good job. That'll work.
There's another one.
You want to try another one? We'll do the same thing.
Inactive.
You might as well pull anything you see now.
Sam, I don't know if you can see it better from over there. It's the one right up here.
Yeah, I can see it.
There it is. Do you want to grab the scraper and scrape it into
I
this?
might be able to reach it better.
Well, I don't want to crush it. It's pretty big. Will you just scrape underneath it?
Yeah. Got it.
Teamwork at its finest.
Oh, go again.
Got
I
it?
don't know if there's anything
Right.
in that.
That one's probably defunct, but I'm glad to get it out.
Is that 11?
That's good. Must be 11, huh? Not bad. Good day so far. All right. So we're inspecting the edge of the pool just to make sure we didn't miss anything. Paper wasp nests are notorious for hiding in most inaccessible spaces.
There's some sitting where we got this nest.
Great. You find a nest?
There's another.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do now is have somebody with a container pull this one next.
I get a smaller one.
Somebody with a container could probably get these. There's 2 sitting where we collected this nest already.
Okay, I think I'm going to get anything that's not on a nest actively. I'll get those with my vac later.
Scraper?
This is too big.
Okay, go in wherever you can. And just have the cap ready right on top. Right up here, ready to go. Pop. Right on. There you go. Just do your best. Don't worry if you lose some.
We can get it.
Excellent. You got most of them as far as I can tell. Good job. They're in there. We're not going to open it because we don't want them to escape, but they're in there. Excellent work. That was what I'm talking about. You guys are doing great. So all you have to do is if you don't get them all in one shot, don't worry about it. We'll vacuum the rest later. Just get as many as you can. I feel like you got just about all of them. I didn't see anything flying. So good job. All right, what's next? So real carefully, guys, make sure there's nothing left on this pool, and then we'll move along to the next structure. All right, so what Mike is doing is just a very careful inspection of all of these spaces underneath the rail because there's so many spots that wasps love to crawl up into and start nests. So we're just being careful as we go through. How'd you do? You see anything else?
Just These little starter
Starter
ones.
nest. Okay, give them to Colleen. Anything you find is a starter.
There's another one under here.
If you can pop them out, great. If not, don't worry about it. But if any of them that you can collect, we'd like to have them for the final count. How's it going over here?
Grab the little inactive one.
Okay.
Just tiny.
Yeah, lots of little starters that got abandoned. Give them all to Colleen so we have them all for the count. Guys, anything you find, give them to Colleen. Make sure she's got everything we collect, even if they're defunct or a starter nest, that kind of thing.
Why don't you stick around?
Do you have anything else here that's live?
Yeah.
Yep.
Live Dominula in the corner.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear, Dominula.
You're in. Just scrape with the bottle. I bet it'll come right off.
Excellent, yeah. Make sure you have that cap ready so we don't lose any of those guys, because we really want them all, especially with Dominula. Okay, cap, hand him a cap. Make sure you got them all in there. Cap her off.
Trying to get that one to go down.
It's okay. Scrape away. Do what you can. Excellent. Let me see what you got in there. Yeah, man, that's great. We've got several Dominula there, and their nest, and some pupae ready
It's
to
like
incubate
4
out.
adults.
How many pupae?
5 or 6.
Great. That's a decent sized nest.
Oh, there's a couple more larvae
That's great. There is.
already hatched, like 3.
All right.
Yeah, there's a bunch in there.
Excellent. Are you sure? Hey, stabilize that ladder for him.
Yeah.
Get 2 people on that ladder.
It's sandy, so it's sort of digging into the soil.
Yeah, you're going to eventually go unstable, so just have them stable it for you. Carefully don't do anything electrical and zap yourself, okay? Be real careful about that. Don't go right inside a socket or anything, okay? Just on the outside. There's one.
There's one. We'll have to move for the other one.
Good
Is the other
job.
one also inactive?
Yeah, there's 2 in this bowl.
Real careful about the electrical outlet. Just be careful there. It may or may not be live.
Oh, that is active.
All right, drop it in and cap it quickly then, best you can.
I'm gonna drop this tool. There's just one wasp hanging out at the top.
That's okay. You can just cap it.
Oh, wow.
Good job. All right. Excellent. What species? Native or Dominula? Native would be brown. Dominula would be black and yellow.
Yeah.
Native? Okay, cool. All right, anybody see anything else? What do you see on the trampoline? Anything? All right, let's go check those out. Looks like she's got some activity. What'd you find over here, guys?
Mostly old defunct, but one active Dominula here.
Great, active Dominula, perfect. Here's a container. Can you get good access to it? All right, let me get some film on it first. Where are we at?
Right there.
Okay, great. Gotcha. Okay, go for it. Take your time. Just remember, keep the cap ready.
Oh.
Great. How'd you do? Any luck? Excellent. Got some in there with it. Perfect.
I think that's all of them.
You got him.
Good job. Micah, made to do it. Made for it. Good work. All right, everybody feel like we've done a pretty decent inspection?
These look old.
Next one over. There you go. Got it? Great. There's one. Make sure that goes into the count for the final count. And then over here,
This one looks
here's the next one. If you can reach that, go ahead and grab it.
no, but we
There's a couple of them there. I'm not sure if they're active or not. Try not to crush it too much.
Are you guys gonna need the step ladder at all?
There you go. I
No.
don't think so.
Okay, we'll take it then.
Okay, thanks.
Bubble wrap.
You guys okay? Nothing left in here?
I could reach
None of
those.
these are active.
Okay. If there's something you can reach, let's just pull them.
There's a huge one over there though. I think it's inactive though. I don't know
Okay.
what's going on over there.
There's some netting that looks like nests in here.
I think the one that's hanging down is
Some
Oh,
of
it's
them
not a nest?
some is just netting that looks like nests.
Yeah, it's whatever the ceiling is lined with.
It's like a bubble wrap insulation, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So these are defunct nests from previous seasons.
That one tore. Let's see if I
Looks
can-
like there's another one on the inside of the wood piece over here.
Yeah, there's one there. Oh, yeah. In this corner. Yeah, I missed those. Yeah.
anything on the inside. Okay, you said, yeah, I see two over there.
Anything look functional or live pupa?
I don't think so.
There's another starter up there above. I don't know that that's accessible, but if it is, you can grab it. There you go. You just scrape it down if you can't quite reach it. There you go. Perfect boots for this type of environment. She was ready for field work. Micah was completely prepared today.
Got a couple
Excellent.
starters. Nothing big.
Kind of looks like it, but I can't
Let's blow it up here and take a peek. That might be, I can't, yeah, it looks like the manual from here. Let's try to get that. If we can set, captured a whole bunch of carpenter bees in there.
You can just get up onto these boards.
Yeah, be careful you don't knock something down on yourself.
That's a big bee.
That's a carpenter bee. Harmless, luckily. They never sting.
Yeah, they just drill holes. Is there a container for these Dominula?
Oh, is it?
It's
active.
active.
Yeah, can we get one more
Sam,
container?
do you have an active container?
There's one angry
Can we
one
put?
staring
I mean,
in.
we can put an active one in here. These are all
You
defunct.
could if you
but-
have to.
Yeah, because I think we're.
Or do you?
I
Are
think we're
those
pretty much
are
out.
those dead?
Yeah, they're dead.
You want
Okay,
to put them
yeah,
in
you
here?
can, you
Why
can
don't we
add
consolidate?
it. Yeah, consolidate the dead ones, and then we'll use that container for this last live Dominula. Good eyes on that Dominula nest. Colleen identified this one up here, and Milo's gonna pull it now.
I might be able to get a better.
Look at that one.
See right there.
Yeah, good job.
I might want long gloves for this. Are there long gloves on that?
Oh yeah, here you go. Anybody see anything else out on that side?
There's a bunch of defunct ones.
Yeah, but like really high up.
They're really
All right, I won't worry about them then. If you think they're defunct, we'll leave them.
No, adult's gone.
That's okay. The pupae will be what we want to incubate, so no worries. Great, thanks. That's
those
perfect.
are-
Yeah, let's have it do that.
You could use the tip.
Great. Here's a Dominula nest. All right, do your best to catch them all.
Or should I just
Go ahead and put it up. Okay, once it's there,
scrape it?
just what you're gonna do is pull straight back and then get your cap ready to slide right over the top. Great, excellent. Let's see what you got. There you go, that's what I'm talking about. Good work. That is the way to do it. Great job. All right, let me see what you're shooting. Let me stick this right on the corner. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, why don't you pull it? And if the wasp gets away, it's okay. It's an awkward spot to work. Try not to step in the poison ivy stuff, that's all. No problem, that's fine. All right, so at least we got one, that's cool. All right, good work, everybody. Over here?
There's Dominula under there.
All right, let's use the same container again, because we don't have a live one in this one yet. If you can knock it and get the adults in there, great. If not, don't worry about it.
Maybe put the top on too. Like, yeah. You got one.
All right, that's good. I'll come back with the vac to get the others.
Oh shoot, it's another one.
Another nest?
It's like big.
Grab
Is
it.
there some in there?
Go ahead and grab
don't
it.
think so.
Try not to crush it just in case it can be incubated.
I want the net.
Hearing the mosquitoes and flies by my ear.
Yeah, we can put those in another one if they're empty.
There was a moth on a dead one.
I pulled it dead to the moth.
All right, good job.
Stuck it down in front of my face to drop it in
All right,
the
let's go ahead and
right at me.
contain these guys. Hey, good work. That looks great. All right, we got a couple of them out of there. Plus, we got a nice Dominula off the porch of this little playhouse. Very nice.
That must hurt.
Yeah, poor dude got decapitated, huh?
He's still moving though.
Yeah, he thinks he's alive, but he's not anymore. He'll figure it out in a minute, or she'll figure it out. I feel bad. It's sometimes there's collateral damage in what we do. On everybody, that was great. You ended up getting, what did we get, like 20 nests, 25 nests?
Like that. It was 20 when we were at the trampoline.
Back there, so maybe 25 easy.
Yeah. There's the bottom.
All right, good job.
Maybe 30 by now if you count the defunct ones.
So everybody's kind of group up here. We'll do a little debrief. Yeah, we'll get the bucket and we'll show everything over here. 30th, 2025. The team just came out to a private residence and we collected, what would you say, Colleen, was the count?
Between probably 20 and 30.
Amazing, yeah, that was a good collection. And what we have here is a ton of useful wasps for Polistes Venom Immunotherapy, so Polistes Dominula especially. These are invasive here and they're very sought after for venom immunotherapy worldwide. So these wasps that you collected today will absolutely be saving lives literally around the world. Here in the States and out in Europe, there's just a ton of them we got today. These nests can be pupated out. So well done, guys. What you did here was help the client a lot, and you also saved some lives. So good work today. So we're setting up a temporary habitat where we can keep our Polistes Dominula that we're going to incubate for venom immunotherapy. So we'll sugar water in this container. What we're going to do is just soak this paper towel in some sugar water and then leave it on this plastic tray, which is just a cap, plastic cap from food waste, food packaging waste. And what we're going to do is leave that in there for them to drink from without drowning or getting stuck in the sugar water. And then we're going to take all of the wasps that we collected today, and there was a whole bunch of them like these with a nest and the wasps to go with them. We're going to gas them with CO2, knock them out temporarily to separate them from the nest. We're just going to line the nests up along the wood for now, and then we're going to put the wasps in with those nests. Today from the private residence where we collected wasps are multiple paper wasp nests. Some are Polistes Dominula like these, which are invasive wasps that are actually very sought after for venom immunotherapy around the world. And these nests are very useful because we can not only collect the adults for venom immunotherapy, but we can also collect the nests and pupate them, and all of the white silk caps that you see on these nests can have a chance to hatch out into adults here in captivity. And we'll have them do that inside one of these glass habitats. So there's 7 Polistes Dominula nests in these containers, and there's 4 native wasp nests here, either Polistes fuscatus or Polistes metricus. And so these are simply going to be relocated because we don't collect them for VIT. The Polistes Dominula, on the other hand, we collect these for venom immunotherapy routinely. So these will be transferred into the glass habitat. Here we're using CO2 gas. It's food grade CO2, the type you would hook up to a soda machine, that kind of thing. And we use it to knock out the adult wasps so we can separate them from the nest and transfer them between containers and habitats and that kind of thing. It's very handy for that purpose. It just makes this process very efficient. There are ways to do this by hand without gas, and it's easy enough to separate them over time, but for efficiency purposes, especially when you have multiple nests to get through and there's job after job lining up in the busy season, we just don't have time to mess around, so we use the CO2 to save time. So you see how they're all completely knocked out for the time being? That makes this pretty easy. All right, one left. Okay, that's it for these 7 nests that were Polistes Dominula. So you see them waking up here. Some take longer than others, depends on how hard we knock them out. But now they'll establish dominance, like you see here. They're kind of boxing for dominance. And eventually, once dominance is completely established on the nest, they'll fall into line and begin living together relatively peacefully. That's been what we've observed in the past. And as you see here, they're waking up slowly but surely and beginning to take flight and explore their habitat. And once they settle down, it's pretty remarkable how they'll begin to get along okay, and they'll begin taking care of their nests, and they'll each camp out on whatever nest that they belong to. That guy got beheaded by accident when we were capturing it, but the rest of them are in pretty good shape. And you'll see the pupating larvae that are currently under the silk caps. They'll begin to chew their way out of these silk caps over the next few days right here in captivity. And whenever males are born, we'll let them breed here inside the habitat. Sorry for all the reflection, but it's the best we can do in this type of habitat with glass. So they're boxing for dominance here. Eventually they'll settle that match and the dominant foundress will be in charge. So if you look down inside this nest, they still have a good number of larvae in there that are still viable. And if they decide to feed them with whatever protein we give them, then they may end up keeping those larvae alive. And you see more larvae in here. So we'll do our best to incubate all of these and let them survive. But we'll have to add some protein to the habitat so they'll have something to feed the larvae. What you may see sometimes is that they will pull out eggs and larvae from one nest and feed it to others, or even on the same nest, depending on how they decide to support those remaining larvae. Sometimes they'll feed eggs and larvae to the other remaining larvae, and sometimes we can get them to eat other things that we put here inside the habitat. But you can see some really tiny larvae still, some eggs in these nests, and some very mature larvae that are about to probably weave their silk cap here pretty soon. So you see how they're beginning to cluster on their own nests now. The pheromones on the nest make it clear to them whose is whose. So now we're going to do the same thing with our native wasps. Just get them into a temporary habitat here until we can get them set up in their own relocation environments. So she's knocked out cold here, and while she's out, we're going to take her nest, which still has a pupating wasp in it. We're going to set it over here. And we'll just set her down next to her nest, so she'll wake up with it. I'll do the same with these two. So these still have some good pupating wasps in them as well. So we're going to set them up over here. And these two can join their nests. And now we've got 2 live wasps in here with a bunch of the defunct nests because we ran out of containers in the field. So we had so many nests over there that it was a little more than we planned on. But anyway, they're in here, and a couple of their nests are alive. The rest are defunct, but we're just going to dump them all in here together. All right, so for now, it's just a pile of nests and a few live wasps. They're going to figure out their pile here in a minute. And you see this one immediately went to the water and sugar to cool down. And they're starting to wake back up in here and figure out where their nests are and explore the habitat. So as you can see here a little while later, they've clustered up well on their own nests. They know who's who. A little bit of dominance rumbling still happening. So we're going to show you outside on our Vespiary wall, just an update on some of the other wasp nests we have established here along the exterior of the barn. We have several containers that wasps are living in. Some of these wasps moved in on their own, others were relocations. This particular nest, they're currently chewing up some insect meat to feed to the larvae. And they also have males born on the nest already, which is the one you see here with the curled antenna. It's got a lighter colored face. That's how you can tell it's a male. So they're already into their reproductive phase. So this nest is doing very well inside this little yellow birdhouse. These are native wasps that we just support by relocating them so that they can take part in the local ecosystem after we remove them from clients' homes and that sort of thing. But we don't collect these for venom immunotherapy. On the other hand, these are Polistes Dominula, and these are the ones that we do collect for venom immunotherapy. They're an invasive wasp from Eurasia. They got established here in North America in the 70s and 80s, they believe. These are just going to be kept inside a glass habitat while we pupate out the white silk caps you see on these nests. What's going on with those is inside are larvae who have matured and become capable of weaving a silk cap over the top of their cell. And they go into pupation now for a couple of weeks, and when they come out, they're adult wasps. So the adult wasps that we can pupate out in captivity, we can collect then for venom immunotherapy. And that's the purpose of retrieving these nests from the wild and getting them incubated so that they can be collected for that purpose. Polistes Dominula can be relocated into free-range environments, but it's never a guarantee that they're going to stay on the nest when you relocate them. So once you have them captive, it can be easier just to leave them in captivity. The downside of leaving them in captivity is that you have to feed them and water them and very carefully maintain their living space and give them enough protein. Sorry for the reflection here, but we're looking inside the habitat that has several nests in it now. And each of these nests is doing pretty well. They've found where their nest is. There's pupae on the nest that will soon be chewing its way out of the silk cap. And there's also larvae in the nest, and the larvae eat protein. So what we've done is we've put some ground up chicken meat in this container, and we're going to put that inside next to the sugar water soaked paper towel. And hopefully they'll find that meat and feed it to their larvae. That's the plan anyway. And we'll see what happens. In this case, we did not hand feed the chicken meat to the wasps like we have in the past. That helps them discover that this ground up cooked chicken meat is actually food. Otherwise, they may not recognize it. In this case, we decided not to hand feed them. We wanted to see, as an experiment, if they would actually discover this chicken meat on their own, and then not only discover it, but recognize it as food that they can use as protein for their larvae. In this case, not a single one of these nests recognized this chicken meat as food. They just did not understand that this is something they should be eating for protein. Probably that's because it's cooked chicken meat. They usually eat raw meat from pest insects that they hunt in the wild, bring back and chew up and feed to their larvae. So in this case, the chicken meat didn't work at all because we did not try to introduce it to them specifically by hand to let them understand it was food. So the next experiment we're going to do with this group is we're going to introduce some live insects into the habitat as prey that they can hunt. And we'll see if they recognize those live insects as food or not. And these will be feeder crickets and mealworms and that kind of thing you can just get from pet food stores, and we'll see if it works. If they fail to hunt the insects that we put inside the habitat as feeder food, then we're going to have to hand feed the larvae. And that's very time consuming and very challenging, but it's actually quite functional. It works well. They will eat as much as you feed them by hand. We're currently working on trying to figure out some good ways of sort of automating the protein feeding of larvae in captivity. If we can find an efficient way to do that, it would make this a lot easier. As you can see in this footage, there's a lot of larvae left in the nest. Both mature larvae that's about to weave their silk caps and go into pupation, and also very tiny eggs, tiny larvae that are still in development and would need a lot of protein food to get to the point where they could then weave their silk cap and pupate. So there is good incentive to attempt to get these nests fed. It's just a matter of logistically trying to figure that out. So as we come up with good experiments in feeding these larvae, we will share that with you, and hopefully anybody else out there who's doing incubation of paper wasps can learn from this and learn along with us. And if you've had success in raising wasps in captivity, there are paper wasps, and feeding larvae in captivity and that kind of thing in an efficient way, by all means let us know. Get in touch, leave some comments, and we'll attempt those techniques. Here we are later the same afternoon. As you can see, all the wasps have found their natural place. There's no more conflict or fighting. They've all decided which nest they want to be on, and they have taken up residence on those nests. We put a little chicken meat inside with the cloth that has sugar water on it. So far, no one's found the chicken meat yet, it looks like, but hopefully they will when they start hunting for protein. It's July 3rd, 2025. Here you can see these wasps have begun to rebuild. So we're going to collect them today before they can make too many more nests here. So here's a follow-up visit for the same property that the team was on at the beginning of this episode. And we came back on this one to just vacuum up whatever was left, and it's still congregating around the structures we had already cleared. Here and there we found a new nest that we had missed, and other times they had just rebuilt, and other times they were just congregating, so we netted a few and we vacuumed a few.
So our next step here is just applying some essential oil up underneath. This will deter wasps from living here, so they're not fond of these scents. And this is a mix of essential oil like peppermint, clove, and lemongrass mixed with soap and water.
So all the wasps that we collected on the follow-up visit were Polistes Dominula. It's always nice to collect more of these because they're so valuable to the VIT process, the Venom Immunotherapy. So whenever we come across a location that has a fair number of these, we do try to come back more than once and collect whatever's there. Some properties we visit are completely taken over by these invasive paper wasps, and others that we visit, there's half and half. On this particular property, there was 7 live nests of Polistes Dominula collected, and only 4 native nests collected.
July 6, 2025. Here you see a Polistes Dominula that has pupated out of a nest in captivity that we just pulled out of the field for a client recently. This wasp evidently has deformed wing virus, which we believe may have transferred into this species as a crossover disease brought to the North American continent by honeybees. As you can see, the wings are completely malformed and unusable, and there may be other malformations on this wasp, internally or externally, but it dooms this wasp to death. This wasp cannot survive in the wild like this, and it represents a common problem that's becoming an issue that we're studying very carefully. We're testing our local wasps and our local feral honeybee colonies that we remove from the field for clients to check them for crossover diseases from honeybee species to wasp species. July 6, 2025. Here's another Polistes Dominula paper wasp that appears to have the same deformed wing virus issue. So that's 2 of them now that have pupated out with this issue.
You can see here that the wasp is trying to get the wings to work right, and they just can't. And you can also notice on the end of the abdomen of this wasp, the abdomen itself is malformed. And that's another common symptom of deformed wing virus. So we're not certain which type of virus this wasp has until we get it tested at the lab, but it sure looks like some common symptoms of deformed wing virus similar to honeybees. There's at least 3 different variants of deformed wing virus. They call them A, B, and C variants. And there may be other issues involved with maybe even different viruses completely affecting these wasps, but we'll find out when the lab tests are done. Regardless, this is a devastating disease for any pollinator, native or invasive, that ends up with this condition.
Now we're going to prepare a specimen bottle for a couple of Polistes Dominula that had deformed wing virus or some type of wing issue that looks like deformed wing virus. And what we're doing is we're studying honeybee viruses that are spilling over into wasp species. So we believe this may be positive for honeybee virus, deformed wing virus, moving into Polistes Dominula population. So there's a couple of them in this collection that's freezing now that we're going to put into
some ethanol. That's what this is. It's just typical liquor store ethanol, 190 proof. You want to get as high a proof as you can with ethanol. That's a little bit preferable for sending samples compared to rubbing alcohol, so that's why we use it. We're going to put the wasp specimens inside this little bottle and ship them to a lab for testing. In the meantime, they'll be frozen until we can get them shipped out. Never drink this stuff. You get immediate blood poisoning. Wouldn't recommend it. Here you can see a better view of these two wasps that have pretty severe deformed wings, which makes us think this is deformed wing virus from honeybees. But we'll be testing this to see exactly what the diagnosis is for whatever virus or disease caused this issue. So we're taking these specimens and we're just going to put them into the ethanol, and this will allow them to be completely preserved until we can get them shipped to the lab. And we're going to ship these to the lab and have them tested as soon as possible. July 7th, 2025. We have just used the vacuum extraction device to remove these Polistes Dominula from their habitat, where they were temporarily kept until we could get dry ice on hand to preserve them for Venom Immunotherapy. So today we're going to go ahead and freeze them in CO2. And the way we do that is we freeze them in dry ice, which is what you see here. Dry ice, you can touch it very briefly, but if you hold it for very long, you have to have gloves because it can burn you like a hot coal. But this is what we use, frozen CO2, to preserve the wasps and their venom for Venom Immunotherapy. So what we're doing here is just digging out a space in the ice where we can put our container, which is the collection bottle. So we're going to take these Polistes Dominula and get them frozen in the ice. We just pack them in and cover them up. It's very important that you cover them all the way. CO2 gas drops down below oxygen gas, and the cold from the dry ice also drops down, so you have to have ice on top of your collection container pushing everything down. We'll leave it in there for 10-15 minutes until they're frozen solid. So now we just take a specimen baggie and we mark the species, which is Polistes Dominula. And we mark the date, which is 7/7/25. And we wait for them to be frozen. So they've been in the ice long enough now to have cooked to a point where we can remove them. If you're going to be in contact with dry ice beyond anything really brief, you want to have gloves. There was one more Dominula we had, so we put that in here. That's the only reason for this little empty bottle. Just one more Dominula from this collection we found in the habitat that didn't make it into this bottle.
Now these will go into the chest freezer until the end of the season. So the nests we have here, 7 nests with Polistes Dominula. There are still some pupating out, as you can see here. This one here is still chewing through its silk cap. And there's others that will be coming out of their pupation stage here soon. Now there is still some larvae in here. We'll try to feed some larvae by hand, see if we can help them survive into pupation. Feeding them directly with pollen for protein instead of insect meat. See if that works. We are going to try and feed some larvae with some pollen cake, which is a plant-based pollen substitute for beehives typically, that you feed during the times of dearth when there's no nectar or pollen for bees to eat. You feed them pollen cake sometimes. Now, we haven't done that with bees, but we bought the pollen cake to experiment with wasp larvae and substitute that as protein, because this is what bees eat and some wasps eat for protein anyway. So we're going to take this tiny little piece of pollen cake and we're going to see if this larva will respond to it like food. There it goes. As soon as we tap it, it begins trying to eat. And that's what we want to do.
So for the next few minutes here, we're just going to show you in real time what it looks like to feed Polistes Dominula larvae with pollen cake. From what we could tell, there's no difference between feeding them pollen cake and feeding them insect meat. They simply eat both equally well. What remains to be seen is how this affects their development and their growth, and whether or not they can get into the pupation stage where they weave their silk cap and pupate into the adult form of the wasp. You can get back to narrated video and some dialogue around the hour 15 mark if you want to jump ahead. They're taking this pollen feeding very well. Just wolfing it down pretty much. They've been starving here. That guy is hungry. So what we're doing, just for reference here, as you see these larvae just wolfing down this pollen. These are pollen cakes. They're plant-based pollen substitute. So what we do is we take a piece of it right off of the bit we have here, and we dip it in water. Just to hydrate it, we dip it in water a little bit. And then we move it to the very end of the tweezer, and then we bring it over and we drop it in to wherever we can find a hungry larva to feed that's still alive. So let's try these guys again. To be super delicate with these. Because you never quite know if you're going to suffocate them or drown them because they're so tiny. But so far they seem to be doing okay with the feedings. So our little Vespiary feeding station here has fed this nest, and they're still eating that pollen. It looks like we have one pupa chewing its way out here. We're going to put this one back in the habitat for now. But the feeding experiment went very well. They took this pollen cake very, very well. We'll leave this set up for tomorrow. Take our little pollen eaters here, and we'll put them in with their other nests till tomorrow. We'll check on them then and see if they're still alive. July 8th, 2025. Here you see some more wasps have started to pupate out of these nests. This one looks healthy, no deformed wing virus. And the larvae that we started feeding yesterday with pollen cake seems to still be active. So now that we have some wasps being born again in the nest incubator, we're going to give those wasps a little bit of this sugar water because they need something to eat. So sugar water, 50% water, 50% sugar, just shaken up in a jar, makes a little sugar syrup, and that will be good enough. Put it right up next to her nest. That way she'll find it and she can drink. It won't take her long to realize this is food, but she'll explore it first, and once she figures it out, she can begin to eat a little bit, and that'll help her survive. In the meantime, by instinct, they do trophallaxis, which you see her doing here. They dip their heads into the cells and do a mouth-to-mouth fluid exchange with the larvae, because the larvae produce a sweet carbohydrate fluid that these wasps can drink. So as the larvae eat protein, the adult wasps will eat that fluid, and they exchange that nutrition. But the sugar water will supplement that for the adults. So as an experiment today, we're going to feed this wasp, this forager, this female worker wasp who pupated out of this nest. We're going to feed her a fake larval worm, which we made out of pollen cake protein. That's a plant-based protein, some of which you see here. It's typically fed to bees, but we're going to feed it to this female wasp and see how she responds. Maybe she'll treat this like an insect larval worm, like they do in the wild. Maybe she'll treat that food like it's a natural part of the prey that would feed the larva. If we can get her to do that and she feeds it to the larva, that would make our job a lot easier. That way we don't have to hand feed the larva. Let's see if we can get her to treat that like an insect. We'll dip it in sugar water. See if she'll go for it. There she goes. She's starting to chew on it. So let's leave it in there and see how she responds to it over time. Meanwhile, our other nest here, we're going to take that out
and feed it some pollen cake directly. The larvae in here started their pollen cake feeding yesterday, and we'll see if we can get them to take some more. All right, as you can see here on the screen, blown up on this microscope video camera, the larvae in this nest are still alive and still producing fluids, and they are ready to eat. So what we're going to do is take some of this pollen cake, just a putty pollen cake made from plant-based material, and we're going to feed that to the larvae by hand using a small wooden skewer. So we put a little bit of the pollen cake on the end of the skewer, and then we dip the skewer in water just to hydrate it a little bit more, and we put it right in here to feed the larvae. So as you can see here, the larva is eating that large glob of pollen cake with no problem. And this is simulating protein from insects that the adult wasp would usually hunt and then malaxate to hydrate it a little bit and then feed it to these larvae. You see how fast that larva ate that pollen. We're going to feed her some more. Meanwhile, over here, we have a pupating wasp about to remove itself from the cell. It's in the process of pupating out. Let's feed this one a little bit more. Here's a larger blob of food. You can see her developing mandibles, working very hard to pull the food into her mouth. You can see how much fluid she produces while she's eating. And this would normally be drank by the adult wasps on the nest. They would usually do trophallaxis, mouth-to-mouth feeding, and they would sort of lap up this fluid that the larvae produces while they give the larvae protein in the form of insect meat. Yeah, that one's very hungry, eating very well. So far, our pollen cake experiment
as a protein source for Polistes Dominula larvae seems to be going well. These experiments are relatively time-consuming. Obviously, you're feeding tiny insect larvae by hand. It takes some time, so we can't always fit it into our workday. We can only afford to give these experiments so much time. But when we can, we'll continue with these experiments and we'll update you on the results as soon as we can. So that's it for today's episode. We appreciate you riding along with us as always. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, or comment to let us know you're there. Have a good one.